Welcome to the Church Matters podcast, where we talk about topics related to the church in a way that honors the church. Thank you for joining the discussion.
Welcome to the Church Matters podcast, where we talk about topics related to the church in a way that honors the local church. Thank you for tuning in. You can like and subscribe to this podcast on the various platforms. My name's Corey Williams. I'm your host. I'm here with Don Williams.
That's right.
And Don is my dad, and so it's a joy to be able to hang out and do this together. And we are talking today, and this whole season of our podcast really is focused on the coronavirus and the situation we find ourselves in today.
That's right.
And so I wanted to have a conversation with you about your medical history. Because there are people who are tuning in who are also dealing with health concerns.
You bet.
And they're at risk and they're worried. And so I want you to have the opportunity to speak into your unique situation and then how it's affecting you, and then we'll talk about how we can encourage people. So let's back all the way up to, obviously we could look at all kinds of different health-related things, but I think you mentioned to me that summer where you had mono is probably where it all started to kind of unravel, so to speak.
Josh always says I'm a young old man, but that's quickly changed. Not that long ago, I got mono during the summer, and for a guy my age, that just doesn't happen. And so that was my year of sleep. That was the first aha moment. And then, that's when I studied Dallas Willard a lot and got into him real heavy. And then the next year, my back started to go. We went on a mission trip down to Kent, Chile, and we did a lot of walking, and my feet just didn't go where I wanted them to go, and they ended up throwing me in a cab and taking me back, and then we had to get back home after that. So that was my first back surgery then, first back fusion in the lower lumbar. So that all went really well, except I contracted shingles during that process. So that was quite painful and discouraging. And then right after that, the next surgery was it turns out 20% of the time when you do one, and the next one goes. And so that was my story. Wow. And so I had the next one. Yeah.
So you had a back surgery because, in my opinion, having watched you work your entire life, like you really worked yourself to the point of breaking your own back. You've got a degenerative condition.
Spinal stenosis, yeah.
So you are disintegrating, so to speak. But, you had that first surgery. That was followed by shingles.
That's right.
Which isn't too unusual, correct?
Well, it's uncommon, but it happens. It happens,
yeah. So having had a surgery like that, sometimes it'll present in that way, and you end up with shingles, and that was your case. And so you're out of commission.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And that's not me.
No, we have a hard time keeping you, making you behave.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So you have one surgery, you have shingles.
Yep.
Then you identify the need to have
another one,
a second surgery.
Yeah, it's going really good, except I'm still pretending I'm 18 years old, and blew out the next level up.
Yeah, but in the midst of that too, this isn't the only thing going on with you right now.
Oh, right, yeah. Sometime in there, I got the news that I had the big C, had chronic lymphomatic leukemia, CLL, and that was a big blow. Although the prognosis was pretty good, because if you have to have cancer, it's the one to have. You can grow old and die with this one without ever needing treatment. But it does make me, it does compromise my immune system.
Yeah, you're at risk.
I'm at risk.
You're in that demographic that everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah.
And you've got health complications because you're at risk with the cancer that you have, and like you said, it's manageable, and your numbers have been good, but you're still vulnerable.
Right. That's right.
And then you've got the surgeons consulting again,
right,
and saying we could and should do another surgery, and this time it involves not only your vertebrae,
Lumbar.
but your lumbar as well, and so
Yeah.
now it's pretty
In
complicated.
the neck, the cervical, yeah. So yeah, they want to do several fusions in my neck, and because that's my arm is going numb. It's starting to get weaker, and that's the scarier side because it deals with the spinal column, and spinal columns don't heal. In the meantime, all this, I have that numb, damaged nerve, probably from the surgeries somehow, in my leg that just has been very slow going away. It takes a long time for nerves to heal. So that's been chronic. You can't stand or walk or get around as much as you used to. So it's quite the eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
It kind of shows you the mortality of oneself. We grow up in life and we think we're never going to get old, we're never going to die. And I was living it. But these health concerns that I've had have really opened my eyes to the expiration date.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, from my perspective, you're my dad and you're Superman, and so it's been weird to transition into seeing you with limitations.
yeah, it has been weird. It's hard for me too, but I've come to embrace it.
Yeah, so what has it been like to, have gone through all of these things over the last handful of years?
Oh, it's been a big change. I was the doer, the mover and shaker. Now I have to be waited on. Can't do things. It's very difficult. But what I've learned in that is probably key. It's learned, when I think about my expiration date, when I think about the time I won't be here any longer, when I go home, I ask myself the question, am I ready? And I think a few years ago, I would have not been satisfied with my relationship with Jesus. Not that I was endangering my salvation, but I just know that I could have been a better friend to Jesus. So now everything is cast in that light. Everything. I don't have the idols that I had before. Everything is cast in the light of the expiration date. So it's a lot different way to look at it. Because when you were younger, you never were going to get old.
Yeah. And that's just a false idea.
Yeah.
It's something that we cling to and we just think, no, I'll be healthy, I'll be fine. And then in those moments where you're not, it gives some clarity.
Yeah.
And so then to have that eternal perspective, I'm sure kind of gives you a laser-like focus, right?
Right. And I don't think I'd change it for anything. It's definitely, I would just keep pushing it off.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all this.
Now, we didn't talk about the fact that this whole COVID-19 is really disrupting your plan of care.
That's right. Yes.
Because you had recently consulted with the surgeons again and planned 2 surgeries.
That's right.
2 different fusions in different areas.
Yeah, 2 different, lower and upper, yeah.
Yeah, but what happened? I mean, here we are.
Yeah. Well, it got canceled. I mean, nobody's getting any surgeries, so, and it's indefinite. I mean, they don't know when they'll be able to do that. The nurse attempted to say that we would revisit it on the 15th of April, but
who knows? Yeah, and I think, for anyone out there who you have health concerns right now and you're not sure of when you're going to be able to follow through on that. I mean, even Ash, has some dental stuff that we've been trying to get addressed and set some appointments. And we kind of, have been like most people, and we're trying to save money here and there, and we've been lazy about certain appointments and things like that. And now it becomes something that we need to address right now. And places are shutting down and appointments are getting canceled. And so, I'm sure there are other people out there right now who are tuning in who have that similar experience.
Yes, and they are not alone. I mean, everybody's that was attempting to get a surgery, it can't be done now.
Yeah. But this won't always be the case.
No, it won't. My hope is that I finally turn the corner on this getting old thing and bounce back to some level of activity that would be more in my liking.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be ideal, huh? Get you back in action. But in the meantime, I mean, even right now, there's some pretty serious limitations. I mean, you're on some medication that makes you dizzy.
That's right, yes.
You're also at risk because of the lumbar stuff that's going on. There's a vulnerability there.
Yeah, the neck, not the lumbar's
Oh,
lower.
yeah. I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to mess that stuff up over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the neck, they're concerned that if you were to take a spill or to get
Get in an accident.
or anything that would kind of disrupt that, it could be catastrophic.
Yes, it could.
And you're on a medication that makes you dizzy.
Yeah,
And you're also watching as your body is pretty limited in these moments with,
right.
You mentioned, the pain in your arm and just the atrophy of the muscles
Yep.
there. And
noticeably different, yes.
yeah. So in the meantime, here we are.
Yes, right. Stuck in a lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're trying to get to a place in our conversation where we're encouraging.
That's right.
Yeah. And it might not feel like that right now.
Yeah.
What are some things that you're doing to try to stay level-headed and hopeful?
Well, I'm stepping it up in my quiet time for sure. There's this real heavy burden in my heart to know Christ better. So that has become more fruitful, more intentional. That's been good. I think the new help that's on the One Year Bible app, the webpage is very helpful.
Okay.
What now? Those
some
questions.
follow-up questions.
Yeah.
You've got a plan right now where you're reading a Bible reading program. It's
Yep.
telling you read a Psalm, a Proverb, an Old Testament, a New Testament.
That's right.
And now you're even
Getting questions.
that kind of force you to address some of the things that you've interacted with.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really great. So
Yeah, and that's, we would encourage that to anybody.
Sure.
If you're not reading consistently and spending time in prayer and in the Word, what better time than now? You've got your lockdown. Why not carve out some time where you're going to interact in that way?
Yeah.
And there are lots of resources out there. I think you do yours online?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I'd like not to be, but
Yeah.
there's so many distractions online.
Sure. Yeah. But maybe turn off the social media feed for a few minutes, half an hour.
Yeah.
And jump into that, and it'll feed your soul, and you'll be better for it, and more equipped to deal with the challenges of what it's like right now.
Yeah. I think today's question was, are you memorizing verses like Jesus did to combat Satan in the wilderness? He used Scripture, and so the insight was to memorize Scripture because you need to battle Satan now.
Yeah, and for somebody who's tuning in for the very first time and maybe hasn't onboarded some of these spiritual habits and disciplines, I think you can start very low. You
Sure.
can say, here's a verse that I'm just going to cling to and memorize.
Yeah, I love Dallas Willard's take on it. He starts with the 23rd Psalm every morning, or better yet, that's the Lord's Prayer, just reciting the Lord's Prayer. And he would say it very succinctly that, before you get up and before you get out of bed, to just realize that God's with you.
Yeah.
And he's everything.
Yeah.
And he just works through that and the 23rd Psalm most every day, but not every day, or he did when he was with us. So.
Yeah. For our listeners, we just really want to encourage you. I mean, it's going to take some wherewithal to get through this, and I do think that spiritual disciplines are a way to help us. They're a way to really set us up to be better positioned to navigate the challenges that we go through. And I know for me personally, the last couple of weeks, it's just been a roller coaster. There are moments where I feel steady and confident, and there are moments where I am a mess. And so if I didn't have some of the spiritual habits in place that I do, this would be a very trying time.
Yeah.
But Bible reading,
Yeah.
Scripture memorization, praying, connecting with other believers. I think that's going to set people up to be able to get through this. And then just, we wanted to have this conversation because we want you to know you're not alone. And, whatever it is that you might be facing, whatever health stuff that you can't get addressed right now, you're not alone. But God is the great physician. He's the great healer, and he will see us through.
And he's our goal.
Yeah.
That's where we want to be.
Right on. All right, guys, we love you. Thank you for tuning in today. Please like and subscribe us on the different platforms. And please keep coming back. We hope to keep this conversation going and to keep offering up a steady voice in a time of uncertainty. So we hope to see you soon. Until then, peace out.
Thank you for listening in. Please like and subscribe to this podcast in order to receive notifications for upcoming episodes. If you've benefited from listening, we'd appreciate you taking a moment to rate and review the podcast. We'd also love it if you shared this with a friend. Until next time, may the manifold wisdom of God be made known through the church.